Welcome to the third and final segment. You are watching Rock Bottom with Zolile Makeleni as we speak to TOFARA Nyoni. So, ma'am, take us through now. How did you manage to pick yourself from the embarrassment of failing to kickstart the business that you had started? How did you manage to pick yourself up?
The biggest lesson I learned was my greatest superpower is being me. Being TOFARA Nyoni is my greatest superpower. I owe no one an explanation except for God. I'm accountable to no one. That was the first thing I had to learn, because a lot of it was premised on humiliation, feeling like a failure, accepting that I had failed. So I started to look at myself and say, if you could get to where you got to, clap hands for yourself, close the doors of this restaurant, put yourself together and start again if you want to start again, or take a break, breathe, and learn to appreciate yourself for what you've managed to do this far.
Okay, what then happened to the people that you owed?
The people that I owed, I managed to work out plans with to pay them back. Some were willing to say, some were very, very good to me, and they said, look, it's a write-off, it hasn't worked, you did not choose that it failed. But some I had to pay back, and the ones I had to pay back, we worked out plans with and we paid them back. But what I found is even during that period, some were celebrating my loss. While they were supportive or seemingly supportive in the beginning, they were actually celebrating that I had failed. Little did they know that I was just a seed that had been planted and I was going to rise above all that.
Now that you've managed as well to reopen a restaurant, how's that feeling?
It's exciting. It's nerve-wracking also, because I would never want to repeat the same mistakes that led to failure. I'm very particular about certain things, and so it's exciting.
Now, take us through your abusive relationship.
Right.
How did you pick yourself from then?
So from the abusive relationship, the first thing I did was I started training a lot. I was in the gym working out a lot just to find mental soundness. So I found when I train a lot, my mind is very sound. And I started to realize that I was beautiful and I deserved more. I started to realize that I didn't need to be with another person to be validated. And I started to speak about it. I started to tell my friends what had happened to me. Some couldn't believe it. I started to tell my family what had happened to me. And I got help. I think as Black people, we often don't get help. I started seeing someone and I was getting some help in terms of counseling. And I gradually walked out of that relationship. It wasn't instant, but I gradually walked out of that relationship, and I walked out with a lot of power.
When you say gradually, a relationship is not, it's not something that I would say you can say you walked out gradually. So meaning you're in a relationship with someone who didn't know that something was coming up.
Basically, I was in the gym turning into Mike Tyson and he had no idea.
Now it's an issue that you can reflect and still share and still feel that in life what you need is to really understand how worth you are in any situation.
Absolutely.
Let's say you're in a room full of women who are being abused. What would be your advice?
My advice to women who are being abused are look deep inside yourself. Who are you? What were you before you met this person? And once you look and find that person, rise above. There's a need to find coping mechanisms. Like I was saying, I started going to the gym. I lost a lot of weight because I was going to the gym, but I also got a lot of mental sounding. So if it's praying, are you someone who wants to really get into, your prayer room and start being that type of person? Pray until you find out who you are. If it's singing, dancing, if it's being involved in community groups where you go to other women, talk about your situations and help each other find ways. And also I encourage women to just be financially sound, because a lot of abuse also comes from the fact that women have nowhere else to go. They're not financially sound. They can't support themselves. They can't support their children. And so when you have financial leverage, you're poised in a better position to make choices.
What would you say in a room now full of men? You were talking about women.
Right.
I'm still with my kids. What would you do about the
To my male counterparts, I would say there's no shame in stating your situation. There's no shame in actually taking it to the police, taking it to community. It's a lot more difficult because it's not well received. So find avenues. There are groups like Padare. There are certain groups where you can go through where there are men who understand the phenomenon of men being abused. Make use of those avenues to represent you and help you make your story heard.
in a nutshell, if you were to go back in the hands of time, what would you change and what would you not change?
If I had to go back in time, I would make certain decisions in a more informed manner. I think I used to be very strong-headed. I thought I knew it all. And I didn't take advice from a lot of people. And I think I would go back and listen because I lost out on certain opportunities because of that. I would certainly go back and take advice from different people. I would also be less impulsive because when I was impulsive, I was a touch and go person. So now I'm more grounded and I think things out clearly before I make decisions. So I think my impulse as the younger me got me into a bit of trouble. And overall, I would say they've all been learning lessons. So while I would go and change these things, I think I'm proud of what they have made me today. So they're part of my journey. The scars are part of my journey.
Like they're saying, whenever you have a story to tell, you have a product to sell. Your story can help motivate. Your story can help inspire change one's life who's going through that.
Absolutely.
As an activist, now you're
Yes.
speaking as an activist.
Yes.
What would you want, or what would you rather see done with a ministry in terms of supporting women financially?
I think the ministry has to create awareness because what you'll find is there are a lot of programs that people don't know about. I was fortunate, I was involved in a project through the ministry, and it was a project for female farmers because I do dabble in farming from time to time, small scale. And a lot of women who are in agriculture don't know about these things, so they have no access. So I think there's need to create awareness on TV, radio, and it should be broadcast, be it in rural areas, urban areas. So I think ministries need to create more awareness because there are funds for women, but they're not being accessed by women. There are stands that are available that have a quota for women, but they're not being accessed by women, because women are not aware of these things. So I think the awareness is the greatest step and the first step.
Thank you so much, Tofara, for allowing
Thank
us
you,
to
Zolile. It's
our
been
beautiful
great.
So probably your last quote, your last saying.
My last saying would be, you are your greatest power. There's no one like you. There's a reason you're alive, and God has given you this day. Take a hold of it. No matter what situation you are in, tomorrow will come and the sun will shine.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Till we meet again, you're watching Rock Bottom with zolile makeleni. Stay tuned.